Hey everybody, and welcome to our next little video. In this video I'm going to teach you how to use Strong's Concordance for an Android phone. I love using the Strong's Concordance. It's been around for a very long time and it is really useful in helping you to understand the Bible and the Bible language. Alright, let's get started. Now, I've already downloaded the Strong's Concordance here on my phone. There are many different versions of this app available. Just type Strong's Concordance into your Google Play or Apple Store and you'll find that there are a number of different ones that come up. This is the one that I have chosen and I've been using for some time, and I really like using it. It's easy to use, so let's click on it and I can show you what it has. Now, Strong's Concordance on the app uses the Bible as the basis for helping you to search for words and their meanings. And when you open the app, you'll find that it generally opens to John 3. What you'll see when you open it is these little numbers here at the beginning, English words and then more numbers. Basically what these are the concordance reference numbers. Now, the Bible was originally written in Aramaic, Hebrew and in Greek. Strong's Concordance references the Hebrew and the Greek language. So when you see the G, that stands for the Greek, which is all of the New Testament, and if it's an Old Testament, you'll see that it says H for the Hebrew. And then the numbers are just the reference numbers, and they're in an alphabetical order, but in alphabetical order according to the Greek text, obviously not the English text. The reference that it is referring to is the number is for the word afterwards. So here, man, for example, is here. So in this human being, a man, when we see that it's right here at the beginning, that usually means that there is some other primitive article that has gone beforehand. So let's go through and actually look at how to use this. So the easiest way to use your Strong's Concordance here on this app is to actually find the verse that you're looking for. So in this case, I'm going to look for John. Obviously we've already got John, but we're just going to go back to our other example, and I'm going to go chapter 3, and in this case I'm going to look up verse 16, and you'll see that it flows straight to it. This is again a red letter Bible showing that it's Jesus talking. As you can see here at the beginning of verse 10, Jesus answered him and said. So again, always red letter Bible is showing when Jesus is speaking. So let's look up the word God. I mean, obviously we know what the word God is, but let's have a look at what it says. And in this case, it is literally transliteration of theos. And it shows you how to pronounce that word theos. And then it gives a definition of certain affinity, a deity, especially the supreme divinity. So in this case, we're talking about the supreme God. But it also will tell you some of the other uses that it may have. So it may be a magistrate, exceeding God, God, godly, Godward. Then it tells you how the King James, because this is the King James version that I'm using, uses it. And it uses it primarily as God, as in G-O-D with a capital G, acknowledging that it is God, our Heavenly Father. And it uses that 1,320 times. Occasionally it's been translated as God with a little g, or godly, or Godward, and then miscellaneous other times. It shows you that it occurs 1,343 times in the Greek, in 1,172 verses. Now you may well wonder why these different ways of using it when we think that it is the interpretation is actually theos or God. And the reason for that is that it's always interpreted in the context of the verse and the way that it is being used. This is why when you're looking at different versions of the Bible, sometimes you see different words being used for the same text. And that is because in modern translations, moving away from the King James Version, they may use other idiomatic words for the words that's being used, and this is where this comes from. If we want to have a look in more detail, we can click on the Strong's Concordance down the bottom here. And it then, again, it gives us the same information as before, but it then tells us the number of times this is being used in different books in the Bible. So in Matthew it is used 55 times, and in Mark 52, and so on and so forth. And we can scroll right down and we can see in Revelation the word is used 99 times. If we click on Matthew, if we want to have a look and see how God is being used in that, then you can see that it gives you the actual reference of when that number, the G2316, or the word for God, is being used in different places. So God here with us, and think not to say yourselves, we have Abraham to our father. I say unto you that God is able of these stones to raise up children unto Abraham. And so we see that that's how, this is where this word appears again here. If we go back here, obviously this can get very confusing to read, and we want to actually just be able to read the verses by themselves. We can actually click away the Strongs, and then we can just read the Bible, and we can see the Bible verses here. So if we go to verse 16, for example, here it is here, and it is without those number references next to it. Now, if we want to have a look at the Hebrew language, let's go to our Habakkuk example, which we used previously. And remember, although the fig tree does not blossom, neither shall fruit be on the vines. If you recall, that fig tree in the Message Bible, it has been translated as the cherry blossom tree. So let's have a look and see what our Strong's Concordance actually says about this tree. And we can see that it actually talks about perhaps it is fig. It could also be fruit tree. While it's been translated most often as fig tree, it may in fact be another form of tree. So we're not really necessarily sure how it is being translated there, which is why the Message translation has actually gone for a slightly different idiomatic translation or interpretation of the word tree. And if we have a look here, we can see that it says, we've got that information again. Remember, it was the Te'ana was what we saw in the Orthodox Jewish Bible in that little video. And then we can see how often it is being used in other areas. So for example, we're going to have a look here in Jeremiah, where it is being used quite a lot. So we see that it is used being figs and fig tree, of figs, and in fact it doesn't even go tree, it just talks about figs here altogether and in each of those situations. Remembering that this is in the Hebrew, H for Hebrew, and in the King James Version, because this is just using the King James Version. Now, I just want to reiterate that the Strong's Concordance is a really useful tool for helping us to understand a passage, so we can really get more understanding out of it. And, so I can look up the Hebrew or the Greek word, and I can see what it means, how it is being used, and also to see what alternative translations might be being used. But we can also get some of that information by just comparing the versions, as I showed you how to do that in the New Version Bible app. But it is great to sort of have this as a resource to help us understand words better. Now, there are other tools and things available here in the Strong's app. You can see reading plans, daily verses, the opportunity to do bookmarks and notes and so on. And again, I encourage you to explore those for yourself. I think the primary way that I actually use this is just to get that further understanding of what words mean. And so that's it's a very short little video just to introduce you to Strong's, and it's just a question of just playing with it and getting used to it and helping you to understand it. And I encourage you to download a copy of the Strong's Concordance, to explore it, and to really sort of start to play with it a little bit. Don't be scared of it in any way. I look forward to showing you the next little video, which will be the Bible Hub one.